Hello, Hornists, and welcome back to the Hornpod, the Horn Pedagogy Podcast,
where we put the fun in fundamentals.
This is part 2 of our practice episode. We were having so much fun last week talking about practice, and we just lost track of the time.
We couldn't stop.
So we are bringing you part 2 today, and we're so excited to get back into it. So let's jump in.
So we are talking about the work portion of your pie chart and some different techniques of how to learn and practice music.
Chunking in practice, how would you said that you like to chunk certain elements of your practice up to, making a big thing into like small digestible chunks.
Yes. So this is why I like to do that because, it's so interesting. You could just take the opening part of Strauss 1. Mm-hmm. And, oh my God, my horn's so cold.
Okay, I'm going to empty my water too.
Hold on. It's so cold.
Oh, it's freezing.
It's freezing.
I like it though because I'm a sweaty boy. And we got all these lights, but the horn is cold.
I'm cold. I'm quite cold. This is a basement. Okay, so my horn is freezing, but you can just take the opening call of Strauss. Oh my God, Strauss 1. I actually use Strauss 1 a lot to teach because the first page gives you everything you would ever want to work on the horn.
That part.
Everything. But the opening call, just that alone. I'm like, okay, that's an arpeggio.
Yes.
And there's a little rhythm in there. So you got the little note, the long notes. It's got everything you need. Mm-hmm. So there's so much to practice already. My cold rendition. There's so much in there. It's obviously mostly arpeggios, as we know. But you have a little high range, a little low range. You have a little high to low range transition. There's a lot going on in this little moment. So I would even just start with that if I'm learning this piece or working on this piece. And why I like to chunk, just a funny way of saying it, but why I think that the chunking is good is because I want to, when I'm practicing, this is like my main practice philosophy, is I want to take what it is that I'm working on and I want to find a fundamental exercise that is going to help me get better at that thing. I'm going to identify the issue and then I'm going to take it back to the basics. So I would go to that and say, okay, that's an arpeggio. But even before that, it's really on the harmonic series. Mm-hmm. And if we push down the first valve,
E flat horn.
That probably sounds so horrific.
But so also that actually reminded me. So when we're practicing and being hypercritical, although like you weren't hitting the exact, you're going like a little bit above, a little bit below, but that's working on the flow of the air.
Yes, it's about
and that's way more important to me than like hitting the exact note when you're doing this time of practice. Right. So just like on the first valve. It just feels so good to get every partial in between to make sure that your air is connected between those two registers.
So, we didn't really talk too much about like the analyzing part of what I just did.
Because you're so amazing. You sound so good. You don't need but what's like a common fault that I hear is just like a little bit underfueled in the beginning.
Yes.
And then of course that range shift at the end, which y'all do not look up my recording from high school with the World Association of Symphonic Bands and Ensembles. Like it's something like I did not know what a shift was. I didn't know like what low horn was. It was like that.
Yeah, I feel like common practicing. So let's maybe touch on a couple of the kind of common things that we would run into while practicing, and we can use this as an example.
Right? Why not? And
how to fix them.
Yes.
So first thing you said was not enough fuel. Mm-hmm. Like you hear, and I think that one way that manifests is messy. I think in that we're going to hear a lot of mess, like not a clear beginning, and it's also not going to give us the character. The character we want is like Strauss, like confident, strong,
confident.
And confident.
Even though you're 18 years old, you know what the what you're talking about,
going on, and you need to give that character, and so you need to make sure that you are filling the horn up with air, right? And so I think it manifests mostly in tone being like brittle, and also messy articulation, and or just like straight up missing all the notes. Like that also might have happened. So, and so if that is the case, like we want to practice filling those notes up with air.
Give me some like 3 quick tips, some 3 quick fixes.
What I would do quickly is I would practice it, obviously, with no tongue. So I would do air attacks. So I'd take those 3 notes. And then I would maybe do it a little more in
juicy.
rhythm.
I love that.
Then I would maybe add the tongue back. And it just is gonna, like, you can also listen if and when you add the tongue back in, does it change? Does it go back to what it was before? Or what I'm doing in that practice is I'm taking it to the fundamental of just the tone being created with air of those 3 pitches, and then I'm going to add the tongue to what I'm doing. So it's really about taking it as far back fundamentally as you can, and then adding things back in, and approaching it from a new direction, rather than just playing those notes how you played them for your whole life or whatever.
Right. Damn, dude, you're good. Like, that's so good.
I was getting some nice resonance.
Yes.
On those
Oh my
tones.
God.
There's some spit in my horn though. This is why I said you got to empty your spit, because especially when you start working on articulation,
you're gonna
you need to be able to hear: is it the spit or is it your tongue? You know, you got to know.
And then another thing I'll hear just students kind of move through just. And it's like, okay, there's a little bit of treatment here that there's a little bit of stylistic and musical choice that on like the final layer of this, there's almost like a quasi fermata that's traditionally done on that top F. And there's a style to like how you finish the note. There's a lifted quality to the end where you just let it echo. And then
The canyons.
I like to take a breath there. I like to dum ba da,
for sure.
end the note, let it echo. Yeah, lifted, cut off. Tum ti ta ti ta ta. Oh, I should just play it. Let's play it straight downhill. All right, let me move that mic.
Yeah,
You know,
I love
a little
that.
bit of that like energy.
loud.
Whoa, sorry, it was kind of right in your face too.
Amazing, I loved it.
But then I also do it all on the B flat side, just for like accuracy. Like you're not really going to miss notes when you
100%
like.
on the B flat.
But
Also, you might notice, I'm sure you did as well,
That's
that
like water my horn.
those D's are going to be on thumb and 3.
yes, I do every D in that first patch. I do. Wait,
Everything is on.
Dun, dee, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, sometimes I do 1 2 for the like the 4th note. Dun, 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 dee, dun, just to start it out. I don't know. But at least like below, like on the right below this treble clef staff, that D definitely trigger 3.
Always
It's
trigger
just
3
that one's gonna
because
hella sharp.
because we are in the key of E flat,
B flat,
major concert, and that
So it's B flat for a
G
horn pitch.
/ horn D. I'm only
Right.
going to speak in horn pitch.
Okay,
now.
thank you.
I can't
Yes,
do it.
yeah.
Anyway, but we're in the B flat major horn key, and so those D's are the major third, and the major third always needs to be a little bit low. So if you play the major third on thumb 1 and 2, it's going to be a little bit of a higher fingering, and that is not going to give you that major third in tune that you want. So always all the
Listening to
Mozart
your
concertos and your
intonation.
Strauss concertos,
Right.
play those D's on thumb and 3. Oh my
Yes,
God,
play the. If it's smooth, if it's not like if it's like
Yeah,
you're gonna get
you can pass by.
Yeah, you can. If you're doing a passing tone, you can do
Or
trigger
if
1
the key
2.
has changed, you know.
Right,
But
right.
if you're an E flat major concert, you should always be throwing down thumb and 3.
Literally that. But so like then you get into like the musical elements and like the quality of like, oh, how do I want this to sound? What's the characterization of this piece? And like having the like that little play and that this kind of cadenza figure at the very beginning, this opening statement of Strauss 1. But then we get to the one of the most fun lyrical.
I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done? Oh no, please.
Because actually you did something that I thought was really cool in your rendition, which is the opposite of the correction of the pitfall that we hear a lot of the time, which is that a lot of the time we hear the small note is kind of thrown away and forgotten. Emphasis on the big note, and then the little note just kind of disappears and gets out of the way. So I'll try to do my little demo of what you might hear. that's me trying to do it, exaggerated version of what you might hear, where the little note is a throwaway. So it's a good way to practice that if you have this dotted anything with a,
Small
dotted
note
rhythm with a small note, to practice emphasizing the wrong syllable. Put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. To really put a little extra juice on the little note as a practice technique. I know how this one goes. God, literally cancel me. But by doing that, it gives your brain a little bit of a moment to focus on that little note that's getting thrown away. The same thing goes for the end of a grace note. I do this on grace notes as well. The end of a trill. Little moments where we tend to, for whatever reason, we just sort of shift our focus away from that note. And so bringing the extra focus to the note and practicing it that way, then when you go back in context, you're a little more aware of that note. Sometimes these things seem so elementary and rudimentary, but it actually just sometimes you just need to remind yourself that note exists.
Right.
So that's a really fun practice technique I like for dotted rhythms.
So fantastic. Yeah. Well, so that covers, there's so much just in that one, 4 measures. It's wild, 5 measures.
I could go on and on, but let's move on.
We covered so many things in that little intro in Strauss 1, but then what are the main pitfalls that you hear from students in this first section after that?
Right off the bat, what I hear a lot of the time is I hear a lot of separation in the slur. So I hear I think people are too concerned about the 2 different notes. We're talking the very first slur here.
Octave, sir.
And people are thinking about F, F, and they're not really thinking about the journey in between. And so a lot of the time people will either miss it or you get a tight, tense upper octave. So you hear a lot of sharp. Well, that was...
Right, and get people overshooting.
I can't even really do it. It's just I've spent too much time trying not to do this that it's actually hard to do it sometimes. But you'll hear more of this. This kind of boom, wah, like a jump, right? And what we don't do, again, it's about kind of where to put the emphasis and the juice. Like you were talking about, that fuel.
Right.
Where do you fuel this up? So I will often have people do this as again all on the harmonic slur. So back to you can either do it on the B flat. You could do B flat
or F flat. Yeah, whatever you'd like.
Or
I like that one.
And yeah, I like that one too. There's just more. There's more there.
There's more there, right?
And that is where I'm going to start. So I'm going to have people do that on the harmonic series. Because again, we want to take it back to the fundamental of this. How does this instrument work?
Right.
And that is what's happening. You don't push down. We have no octave key. You don't push down a key and then the next octave just pops out. We have to get there through this path, and with our air and our vowel shape and all that. So anytime there's a slur, this goes for any slur. This isn't what we're saying is not just for Strauss 1. We're just using it as an example that most people are probably familiar with. So any slur, we're gonna always go back to the harmonic series. Slur it over the harmonic series, and not just playing those notes, but really, we talked about the path a different time on this podcast, really using your air and your changing tongue position to change the pitch, and not the squeezing and
the lung and tongue.
The lung and tongue. Oh, I like that.
That's fun.
I think I've ever heard that.
Oh.
That also sounds like some kind of taco special,
right?
A
It's like
lingua. Yeah, lingua. Anyway, so
well, then that also applies because I know why y'all are here now in the Strauss 1 section of the podcast. You're trying to see how do we get up to that B flat and make it sound good. So the same thing. It's just think about it in the line. It's just in the line. It's not a high note. People are and cracking it, and just think about it as linear.
Yes,
so
the connection. And it's so satisfying.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Because, and also,
but
like...
pushing all the way through to the end.
all the way to the end. And I knew you would because,
Well, I love doing that sort of thing.
But it is, like, we have this thing where we tend to freak out. A lot of horn players freak out at the top of the staff or above. And it's like, there's always, like, the B flat. It's the same thing happens in Mozart 4, Mozart 2, and it's like the one high B flat.
And it's like y'all, it's in a line.
It's just
it's
part of the
not a big
music.
deal.
But I understand because I used to feel the same way. And I think part of the reason that we stress out about these high notes is because we have there's this stigma about high note is hard, you know? And actually, and I think this has a lot to do with just kind of changing your perspective about how the horn works and how you approach the horn. But playing high is just a different shape. It's just a different shape of mouth and a different kind of speed, temperature, of air. That's really all that it is.
Right.
It's not harder to do. It just is different. And to me, when I started thinking of it that way, it really unlocked high register for me because I was like, oh, this isn't harder. It's just different.
Right.
Same with low register. It's just different. You just have to figure out what it is. And that goes to just, again, back to fundamentals of horn playing and how you make sound and all the different registers. And we will do a high horn and a low horn episode.
We will. And what is so crazy is because here is fourth horn of the Seattle Symphony and then also first horn of Genghis Barbie. And so in the horn quartet version, just
I am not principal horn of Genghis.
Oh, just kidding. Okay.
But I play a lot of
you play a lot of the high parts.
Okay.
Of the high parts. Well, it's not it's not first chair of it, but it's just
we have a running
what parts
joke. We have a running joke about
Oh, really?
that. There's it's a funny story, but Alana said she thought one time that she overheard me telling someone I was principal horn of Genghis Barbie, which I would never do. But it's become a running joke now that I'm principal horn.
Oh, I love that. That's going to be I'm going to put that in the tag,
horn.
principal horn of Genghis Barbie underneath your name.
I love it. But yes.
Right. But so playing high, it's just another tool in the toolbox, and that airflow and that connection is the fundamental when you're approaching that. When you have students that are just shotgun practice.
Yes, exactly.
And just
and you would
missing all over the place.
You would be amazed when you really start listening. Because my ear is now so that critical ear is so well honed and practiced over the years. When I listen to other people play and students play, especially, I really can hear this. But as you develop that in your own practice, you'll be amazed how much there's this tiny little let up of the air in between notes. And this is what I feel like I hear the most in the Strauss one is that the air is stopping and it's minuscule or it's coming back in between every single note change.
A little too much.
Yeah. We want that air to just flow across every note change, whether it's tongued, articulated, whether there's a rest in between, the compression in that case.
This push of the air, right?
It's compression behind it, the support would continue through the rest even. And you probably aren't aware that you're doing it a lot of the time, especially people who are at a pretty high level or students who are advanced. It's you might not realize that that's happening, but I think that is one of the things that contributes the most to missed notes is that just the tiniest bit of coming back, and then you have to start all over again. So when you get to that B flat, for a lot of people, they're just coming out of nowhere, and they're like, ah!
Right.
But if you really are continuing that path, and you have practiced that on the harmonic series and harmonically slurred up to this B flat every day in your warm-up and your practice, like I do,
right,
then that becomes second nature to use that kind of air. And
it doesn't become a big deal. It's not a big deal when you see it. It's
exactly.
Okay, here we go. Whoop,
and this isn't to be oh my God, we're so good. It's no big deal. It's not that it isn't, it takes a lot of work to get there. It takes a lot of work.
Good practice.
Months, weeks, years of practice. And we have both been doing that now for quite a long time. I mean, I've been doing this kind of really good, careful practice for almost 20 years now. Yeah, almost 20 years of my life now. I'm really dedicated practice. So, and I could have been doing it a lot longer because I've been playing horn a lot longer than that. But anyway, I didn't. So be better than me and do it now when you're young.
Thank you. So if a student is presenting that Strauss one, just not with no connection, we will have them sing it.
Absolutely.
And let's see. Can you be the teacher? I'll be the student, and I'll do an impression. Okay. Okay,
JT. Good job. That was really great. I think what's going to make it even better is we really want to hear that connection between the notes. So I would love for you to sing that for me, and let's hear some of that musicality. Here, I'll give you your starting pitch.
Okay.
Go ahead. Take a big breath. accuracy. Except you would never be making eye contact with me.
Yeah, I would never make eye contact. I'm making like terrified eye contact.
This is also like us as students, and
Yeah.
I took a voice lesson recently,
So
and
nice.
I was terrified, and I was like,
I
"Is
would
this
be
how
too.
people feel when they play for me?" I'm so sorry. I was so nervous. Anyway, yes. So if I were to have you do that again, JT, I would say. Now, what I like to point out is, imagine like a Renee Fleming or someone, or
Who dat?
all that. Get out of my studio.
Oh yes. And don't
feel
let the
like
door hit
Renee
you.
Fleming is like starting to be more too dated of a reference now, but Janai Bridges.
Thank you.
So if you were to hear Janai Bridges sing this opening, would she sound like this? Yeah, 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 yeah. No.
No.
Right, so I like to think of these amazing singers and like what would they sound like singing this music? And would they sound yeah, no. Yeah. Even if both notes were good, la, it would still sound weird, right? So you want la, sorry, I couldn't help myself.
That's great.
You want that connection. So I always use that as a practice tool of like seeing through it how it should be. If you can't play it, sing it, and then take information from that. What does it feel like? What does the air feel like? What does the connection sound like in order to bring that back into that excerpt?
Right. What does it feel like to sing through it in like a positive way? Ya, da, 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 ya, da. I'm leading through da, 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 da. We took a breath at the same part. Yeah, it's like so. It's
even the breath it tells you something.
Right. Even the breath while singing, when they're singing, can give you information, which is usually like, you're not breathing big enough. I feel so bad, like, when I've told a student that, like, all year, I'm like, oh, dude, like, you gotta take a bigger breath. But everyone needs to take bigger breaths. Even I need to take bigger breaths. I wish I could tell myself that.
I'm at a phase in my life where I have, like, my breathing has just gotten kind of, like, weak, and I need to get back into it. So anyway, it happens to everyone.
But it's informative, absolutely.
It is informative, and I've noticed this, and I've been thinking about it. But when I was a student, for years, people were like, you need to take a bigger breath. Take a bigger breath. Take a bigger breath.
Right.
For years.
It
and
happens.
I heard them. And I heard it and I tried. And it took me years and years. And then at some point, like, people stopped saying that to me because I finally got it. But I do think that's what I was talking about earlier with the kind of like breath, brain, body connection of younger people. Like, you just don't really have that yet in your body. So you have to really like continuously be told and maybe continuously work on that. And yeah, that's a tough one. But yeah, singing and buzzing are kind of like the two things. And this also, I find, okay, let me think of a good example. Till is one of my favorite examples for this. So a lot of people will play. That part right there, ba, 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 ba. Even when I sing it just now, I wasn't quite accurate. Something chromatic like that, I think sometimes people, you kind of gloss over it sometimes. This is like the approximation that happens with rhythm. A lot of people will approximate pitch. So I found that if you have someone sing something like Till or something chromatic like that, that it can be a really, really interesting, really solidifying tool with getting to the center of your pitches. So bum, 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 ba-dum, and then bum, 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 really feeling the distance of those intervals. Bum, 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 ba, 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 ba. And it also
nice.
even I didn't make it, but even to feel the distance of those intervals, even the ones you can't hit, it tells you something. I also did this at the beginning of Heldenleben. If someone sings it, they always go. Even myself, I used to go ba 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 da ba da ba ba da da. It's like no, it's ba 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 da 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 da. It's that big of a spread, So it's funny, like
the accuracy
of when I realized that about Heldenleben, I was like, that actually changed my Heldenleben. I'm probably on key. Like, oh, that's a big spread.
That's huge, yeah.
I was out of tune. But to really like feel the distance, I think singing can help to feel the distance of the intervals in your body, and that's and it also helps to really hone in on the pitch, and also like you were demonstrating the connection of the air. Like it's just singing has so many benefits.
It does.
It has so many benefits, and you don't have to be a good singer to have it benefit you at all.
We should do a podcast where we should have like a singing coach and learn like a duet and like work on it like a coaching.
God, I love that.
We should do that.
Like a vocal duet.
Like a vocal duet. Like some like pop duet or something. Like what would we do? The boy's mine. The boy's mine. The boy's mine. The boy's mine. The boy's mine.
I'm obviously Brandy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Actually
Monica.
no, that's a hard.
I can be Brandy.
Oh God, I don't know. Okay.
Had about enough.
We talked about singing as a tool.
Yes.
Now
buzzing.
Okay. You know what? But we're going to do a whole buzzing episode.
We will do a whole buzzing episode. This
let's
could be a little preview.
Just a little
you know.
preview is how how buzzing, just like the singing, a certain kind of buzzing especially can really help to get that continuity of air. Like a really,
Right.
I like to do a real gooey.
Yes, gooey buzz
Gooey
and
buzz.
yeah, like a real like chonky buzz.
Chonky buzz. It has such good direction. Up and down.
I'm not really focusing
Up
too much on
and
rhythm, but
down.
it is, but it's going up and down. You know, it's really like
You learn the direction, the continuity, the fuel that you were talking about when you're slurring up and when you're slurring down. We have this tendency as horn players when we descend in pitch to like relax. We have this idea that we tense to go up and we relax to go down. That's why so many people can't play in the low range because they just like deflate.
Right.
So that is
There's
like
energy. There's still
ooh,
yeah.
I just to hear a nice robust buzz and like I
It's
love
inspiring.
It. I'm so
Well,
excited.
because where do you hear that buzz? Like, what does that buzz translate to? It translates to
Yes. That's what it is.
but on the harmonic series.
And then just give us one little version of that regular,
Yeah.
like on the horn.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
just like how does that get to? Every note is there. It's smooth, has direction. I just love it. It's so-
creamy and just like nice, well fueled, well supported, and
Yeah.
like the line is. I don't know. It's not just like every note being
Exactly, and what happens then, and the way this also affects your accuracy is because if every note, if the air and support is there for every note already, you don't have to get it there, but it's already there, then you're gonna hit the note.
Right.
Like for the most part, more so than the other way.
Right. You don't have to be like scared.
You're not like coming out of nowhere like it's the first entrance. Like you know, I can't remember. There's some statistic about like this number of missed notes is our first entrance notes are. You know, obviously the most likely missed note is the first one, right? So like, don't make every note like a first note.
Right.
Have it be some you already
stuff,
have that
yeah.
nice.
You exist in the context of every note that has come before you. You think you just fell out of a French horn tree?
Okay, I can't. Okay. I feel like we covered a lot of really fun things. There are, I mean, I think the concept of chunking, since you mentioned it earlier,
Right.
and it got me excited because there's this other really helpful thing that I do when I have something super technical. Obviously, I'm gonna take it apart and make it very fundamental. Like I'm going to make sure that I'm practicing it slowly and I'm going to practice it slurred. These are some of the old
Air
old
connection,
things from
getting the
toolbox.
buzz, get all those good things.
Yeah, the buzzing, the singing and all that. But I also find that chunking mentally, when I have like a lot of really technical notes, if I separate them into smaller pieces, that is so helpful to wrap my mind around. So if I have something super like even Till that we just played Till
Right.
not that long ago, and I have divided it into
Right.
different sections that are probably totally different than how you would.
What? Dee da 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 dee. Da 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 dee. Da 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 da.
No, it's different. Mine are. I don't even know. I'd have to look at my music. I'm so bad. I can't remember. But they're very. It's like sometimes I will do it like if there's a chromatic area, I will divide the part that's chromatic so that my brain can just go, because I have practiced my chromatic scales and my fundamentals so much. If I have that, then I don't have to think during the chromatic part. I know that's just a chromatic scale. Now I can look forward to the next part that's less of a pattern. What
Right.
did we play that was so that Joan Tower Concerto for Orchestra Suite?
Oh gosh, Yes,
It
we should have
was
just played the whole
so
thing. I want to just play the
hard.
whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
It was hard. It was hard, but it was good.
We will one day.
Yeah.
There were some technical bits in that were not patterns, and it was tricky.
Oh God.
So I had to do a lot of chonking for that. I'm calling it chonking.
It's
now.
like da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-dee. Yeah, it's just some
It was very like
almost a pattern.
almost chromatic, but then not.
Yeah, almost chromatic, and then like one of them would be like just one
And a lot of
accidental
kind
difference.
of jumping around in a small register. That was very challenging, and so that I did a lot of chonking.
That was hard for me too. I was like not confident in that.
We did a good job. We did a good job.
Yeah,
but it was hard.
I can't remember. Damn. Like one final note I have on chunking is it's also a great way if you're memorizing
Yes.
a piece. Chunking is super important. You need to like have these chunks so that your brain can identify these landmarks. That's another really good way. And you could either do it by page or do it by like tempo section and then get movement to movement and practice the chunks out of order. That's a huge thing.
Ooh,
Just once
yes.
if you practice them out of order, then like every time you hit the landmark that you've made in your brain, it will just like the autopilot and like the good muscle memory that you've worked will immediately apply and fall into place. It's so good to practice that way.
It's also so important because if we always start at the beginning, then like the stuff at the end is always going to be what we have the least focus on, whatever. We want to sometimes start at the end or in the middle,
right?
And make sure that you're not just always starting at the beginning of something. And that's so true.
Well, and then in terms of like the fun element, the fun sessions of practice that we get to do, well, we've already mentioned group practice, which I always consider part of the fun. And some of my favorite things to do in a group as practice is to, pull out quartets, duets, find a buddy, because getting better together gets you even better forever. Oh, God, I just made that up. No. Well, that'll be on the t-shirt. No. But playing having a book of duets on your iPad or in your horn case for any opportunity to strike itself. That's always a super fun way to get together with the gang and just read quartets, read section stuff, read concert stuff.
When you're actually playing the music in that performance mode, it's first of all really good practice for your brain to get into that mode and not stopping. If you just practice and you stop every time you make not a mistake, but something that happened differently than what you intended. If every time that happens you stop, then in the moment you might have a little glitch because you have to keep going. And so it's important to also have part of your practice where you're just
going all the way through.
Playing,
yes,
and you're not, and you're actually practicing in what I call performance mode. Not just me, but what people will call performance mode, so that you're in more of that kind of that flow state.
Oh, I'm going to 100% use this performance mode because I will have students come in and we'll be playing an etude and then a stop.
I always,
in the middle.
Yes,
and it's
I
like,
always
why'd
say
you stop?
that.
You're don't so well. Like, don't stop yourself. Continue.
And because they're so used to it, and so I always I do
practice.
That. And in the lesson, I will always remind them, okay, this is going to be performance mode.
Performance mode.
And that means that the rhythm and the pulse is the universal rhythm of this piece is moving, and you better get with it and stay on it.
Yes.
and if something goes awry, pick it up at the next bar or the next note or whatever it is.
Exactly. Just as you would in a performance, you wouldn't stop and then you wouldn't freeze up. You would work through.
It's important to do, and so playing pieces with other people. Or just like running something and really saying, I'm going to do this in performance mode, and I'm just playing.
Horn karaoke.
Where
you throw on get a loudspeaker system, get the JBL, the big one, and just throw on your favorite recording, the European horn recordings, and just shove in all the slides, and then play with the buddies. And
you got to find those old recordings where they're sped up a little bit, so they you can't quite get to that pitch.
Yeah, like 445 or whatever. And then also a fun thing that I like to do is to take a little jazz standard, get on YouTube, find back in the day we had Band in the Box, and so it's a big CD recording of just all these tunes. But YouTube is such a good resource. It's incredible. So make sure you're tapping that subscribe button and leaving a spicy comment in the algorithm for us if you're enjoying this episode. But also look up on YouTube just these tunes with the changes and go through. Yeah. They make the real book in F, which is all the jazz standards in one book and in the key of F. But I like to have it. My real book was always in C, so I would transpose, which is also a good test. But if it's an F, it's fine. A little easier to see and not have to do another transposition when you're finding changes. But and then improvisation. Or turning on a drone and doing improvisation, just and
it doesn't have to be over changes. I always really enjoy, like I said earlier, I can play over simple changes, but I don't want to do that.
Giant steps, go.
Literally, like, I'm gonna have a nightmare about that tonight.
Sorry.
But what I always I did in like back in my contemporary music days, I really liked just like free improv and just, and it's so interesting because it's so different than what I do in my regular life, but sometimes it could be like a prompt. Like I love like Paulina Oliveros wrote a lot of amazing pieces that are like a sentence, and it just might be an inspiration, and there's no sheet music for it. It's just you play what comes out of your spirit at that moment for that, prompt. Or it could just be nothing. Like, how do you feel? Just play. And I feel like that kind of stuff can be so healing for us on our instrument. And that's why this fun part is so important. And I will say that, back in the day, after I was done with all my school and everything, I was freelancing and it was tough. There was a recession. It was really rough. And I decided I just wasn't feeling very fulfilled on the horn, and I had a very toxic relationship with it at the time. And so I started to pursue jewelry design because I was making a lot of jewelry, and I felt more creative and more free with that, and I was really enjoying it.
You do have an eye for excellent quality jewelry.
And so I was kind of going in that direction, and I was kind of like putting the horn away, and I almost quit. It was like the closest I came to quitting. I was having a lot of existential crises about the horn and asking a lot of questions and just not feeling it. And I was going to go to the path of jewelry designer and like become a bench jeweler or something. I don't know. And then this is when Genghis Barbie started. And when Genghis Barbie formed, it like completely altered my relationship to the horn, because I had never played horn in that kind of ensemble. I had never really played in any kind of ensemble that was my own. It was always just like something through school or school orchestra or freelance work. And so having that opportunity to play a different kind of music that was like also music that I associated with fun. It wasn't like hard or work, music I had to work on. Like I knew it already. I knew it deeply in my bones. Some of this music, like the pop music, it's like, that's my music. And so to play that music on the horn, which now seems a lot more common, but I feel like at the time it was like not really as much of a thing. And so, yeah, it was just like, to me, so healing to have that fun. And so sometimes I play, I just play Genghis Barbie music if I'm trying to have some fun. If I'm trying to like get my chops back up or something, I won't just play etudes. I'll also play, nothing will get you in shape like a Genghis Barbie set. Facts. But also, as a practice technique, and maybe in audition prep, we can talk more about it. But when I was taking a lot of auditions and I found them to be pretty stressful, I would sometimes, just to get myself in a good headspace, I would pretend that an excerpt was a Genghis Barbie part. And I would like play the excerpt as if it were like my Genghis Barbie music. And even just switching my perspective on that was like a complete game changer. So the fun is so important, and it repaired my relationship to the instrument entirely. Like I had never experienced that joy before and that freedom, and to have that finally, like then when I went back to play Mozart, whatever, it was like completely different and healed. So
what that story shows is that, first off, the career path is non-linear for any classical musician.
100%.
It's not linear. You're not going to get a job right out of college most of the time.
It is not.
It's like it's a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, but on the way you can carve your own path. And if you're doing that from a place of fun and what really drives you musically and like as a person and as a musician, then, my dad used to say, well, if you're having fun, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's like, it is still work. But approach the truth in that is by having fun. It makes the work fun. Starting from that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also find that when you have this kind of fun part of your practice and I've heard this all the time with students, when you play something that it like changes how sometimes people sound like a different player when they're playing something differently. And so what you need to find is the bridge between those two things. So if you find that you're drawn to a certain kind of thing and you feel free and you feel relaxed, like you might be approaching the instrument differently, and you can also learn from that. So even while you're having your fun time, you're also it can all be connected with the rest of your practice, and it can really inform you about like healthier ways to play, both physically and mentally. And it also might give you a little bit of insight into what it is that you're drawn to. Like, what is it that you reach for your fun stuff? Like, do you reach for pop music? Do you reach for jazz? Do you reach for, experimental stuff? Do you reach for, maybe your fun is playing Mozart concertos? That doesn't mean it has to be non-classical music. It could be excerpts. Like, maybe that's your fun. Maybe your fun is like, oh, I like the low stuff, or I like the high stuff, or whatever it is, and just kind of noticing, like, what is it that I gravitate towards? What is it that, like, feeds me? And then, maybe you, like, chase that.
Yeah. Well, and doesn't it feel good, and just it makes it so fun when you sound good and you're like, dang, okay, it so like feels good to play, and it's fun and it feels good, and like it's satisfying to the soul when you're like sounding good, and that comes from that quality practice.
Yes.
It's all tied back into that.
And you do need that, if you really worked hard on the stuff that you're not good at yet, then like you need that little bit at the end to be like, you know what, I do sound good. I am good.
And you are good.
And you are good enough. And gosh darn it, people like you.
People like you. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, your burning horn questions.
The Hornpod is brought to you by Genghis Barbie, the world's leading post-feminist pop French horn experience. Check out genghisbarbie.com for recordings, merch, water bottles, t-shirts, experiences, concerts, everything you want to know about the Barbies. Check us out at genghisbarbie.com.
The Hornpod is brought to you by Horn Hippie Media, music, education, and media production solutions. Loving the pedagogy on the pod? Head to hornhippiemedia.com and download the Horn Hippie warm-up routine today. This warm-up features all kinds of exercises, from breathing to buzzing to flexibility, and even horn player affirmations. Visit hornhippiemedia.com today. And we're back. Danielle, I feel something burning. What is that?
I think that's a burning horn question.
Oh my gosh, it is everyone's favorite part of the show, where you, the audience, get to ask us your burning horn questions. And we have some very exciting ones, but first one we're going to cover today is...
So we had a question. This is a long time ago because it's been a while since the podcast happened, as you know. But someone asked on the very beginning, they were curious how much we actually move our slides in the tuning process on stage. They asked, how much do you actually move your slides during the tuning note, and what kind of difference does that make? And I thought that was so interesting. So I'd love to hear your take on it first.
During the tuning note, I actually will only move probably like this slide or this slide. I only really move two slides because I've set my horn up to play in tune with the V slides on the front, like way ahead of time, just in my own practice. And like during the tuning note, it's just going to be like within a quarter of an inch. It's the horn. You're never that far out of tune, like from where you last left off.
That would be like extreme.
It would be if you're like they're a quarter inch. That's pretty extreme. So you don't really need to move your tuning slides that much.
Sometimes if it's like if we've been on vacation, like the first week back after like a break, or after the summer, or if we're like in the opera hall, sometimes if things are different like that, then we might make more, like that would be where we would probably make more of an adjustment. Or if there's like, I don't know.
And like, well, when I would move my other slides, it's like if I'm noticing one particular valve combination like consistently is out of tune in the same way from one of my colleagues, one of the other people in the section, and then I'll adjust it and see if that corrects it. But it usually takes like 2 or 3 times of like an instance of pitch difference for me to actually like physically move a slide. Yeah, it has to meet that threshold.
Yeah, I agree. I think I almost never move my slide during the tuning note, but again, because we're kind of doing that pitch practice at home. But maybe like a little smidge here and there. Sometimes like, your body just feels a little different one day. So I usually close my eyes during the tuning note, and I just play again. I never tongue. I'm going to just do a non-tongued. I'm going to try, I'll do an F horn and B flat horn and a couple different pitches within the perfect intervals just to kind of feel the different intervals. And for me, it's like a good moment of checking in to be like, okay, am I in the zone? Am I centered? And if I do feel like, okay, the way I'm blowing into the horn today is not feeling centered here, then I move it a smidge, that main slide. But yeah, we don't really do a lot of moving because I think at the level that we are at and in our situation, we basically play mostly in tune.
Right.
Mostly. Obviously not always, but and if we're off, it's pretty close.
Yes.
So I think for us, the adjustments that we're doing are usually either with vowel shape. For me, I do a lot of that kind of little adjusting
Or
there.
air,
Or our air, or our hand,
Pressure
or
hand,
our
yeah.
fingerings. We have so
Right.
many options. And so I think that before we move slides, like that's more likely the route we would go for pitch correction. And we wouldn't do that during the tuning note.
And on the tuning note, I actually literally only do the B flat side 2. That's the only one I check
Oh,
because
yeah.
I know the F side's going to be
It's gonna be
the F side's going to be a little low on if you
Yes.
play like the A.
Yeah.
So I just go. Let me just check that beat because like that little perfect interval.
I like to go.
Oh, I love that. Does sound nice. That sounds nice.
We all have like our little pattern we play. It's so funny.
Yeah. Or like little warm up ditties, and I
We
absolutely
all have
love
our
it.
little warm. It's everyone in the symphony has their little warm up. Like I couldn't play other people's, but it's funny. It's cute how everyone has their own little thing. But yeah, the warm and there's some and what John said, he said the F horn E, which is our concert A that we tune to.
Right.
That interval on the harmonic series is a little bit low, and that's why we don't like tune. We don't want to expect that to be like, perfectly in tune.
Right. Well,
And so that's important. But when you're tuning, just a little tuning etiquette.
yes.
Stick to the perfect intervals. Those are your
Don't do
unisons,
thirds.
fourths, fifths, and octaves.
Right.
We don't need a
Don't
bunch
do
of
sixth.
chromatic stuff. Noodle here and there is
Yeah.
okay.
Don't be playing a concerto.
Don't be playing a tritone.
Oh, God, no.
Don't, leave your practice at home for that
Right.
and all that. So
And the best tuning etiquette is literally just wait for the pitch to settle for like a
Hear
second,
it,
hear it,
let it, yeah.
then play maximum 2 notes.
Yeah.
Maximum 2 notes. That's really like for the
I just play
children,
it
for the
3 or 4.
children. Like for like kids in orchestra,
Just
I
one
just
note.
because
And then
they'll
get out of the way.
go. Yeah, exactly.
Except for when I show up really late and I'm like, I need to warm up
these
for
are
the
my
next
first
10
notes of the day.
seconds.
Yeah.
That's a very rare occurrence, but it has happened.
Hey, it does happen when you're a pro.
I'm like, and there's also sometimes, and you never play during the strings tuning note unless
Right.
you have to play something muted right away,
Yes,
and then
we
you
have
might
to
want to
tune
tune
the
that
mute.
mute.
Exactly.
You might want to put that mute in for the
Right.
tuning note.
Yes, exactly. What a good question.
Wasn't there I think there was some controversy in the
was?
classical internet world recently about tuning notes.
Wait. Oh, we need to let us know in the comments below.
You heard about that
heard about that.
controversy,
Oh my
but
gosh.
someone
What
had
happened?
claimed that the tuning note is irrelevant.
Present honey.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, it was a hot take.
Whoa.
Anyway,
Oh my God.
I don't know. I didn't really follow it, but
Well, thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of The Hornpod. We'll be back in your ears next week with more. Bye for now.